Are you kidding me? Not this whole thing again. Is Sony really going to be skipping the biggest gaming event in the entire world this year again? Well, it's looking like they will, and honestly, it's one of the worst ideas a company that's launching a new console could do. Now, I know most people didn't mind them skipping last year, especially since they didn't really have anything to announce, and with the new consoles right around the corner, most people figured that Sony was going to save a lot of their announcements for a private event of their own, or for E3 2020, which is fixed to be one of the biggest events of the year, especially since Microsoft and Sony will be showing what their new consoles can do holiday 2020. But with them skipping again, I wanted to talk about what Sony said and what we should expect from them at the gaming convention later this year. So remember, this is an official word from Sony, and it's not a rumor anymore. No matter how much this pains people, it will be something we all have to deal with. Let's just hope Xbox shows up and gives us the show we as gamers deserve. But before we dive into the article, if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. But enough of that, let's get into what was said by Sony themselves about why they think E3 just isn't the right venue for them to actually showcase some of the games everyone wants to see. Here's what the article by GameSpot had to say. Sony will once again be skipping E3. Despite the PS5's imminent launch this holiday season, the company has told GameIndustry.biz that it will not have a presence at E3 2020. So I know most people, when this rumor first came out, didn't want to believe it, and to be quite frank with you, I was one of those people, because I'm of the mind that E3 is where companies should show up and reveal some of the awesome games that they're all working on. And of course, it's one of the best times to see what Xbox and PlayStation are working on, because they're the big powerhouses for me when it comes to the gaming platforms. Of course, as a PC gamer also, I like to see what new games are coming for PC, but most of that is focused around what Blizzard is doing because they have the PC-centric market almost locked down. So it's almost heartbreaking to hear that Sony isn't showing up because they might not have anything to show. But let's dive into what exactly Sony said. Here's what the article says. After thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate in E3 2020, Sony said. We have great respect for the ECA as an organization, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. To me, this sounds like one of the most damage-controlling excuses I have seen from a company, and it's something I don't really respect. Now, I understood last year's E3 no-show, especially since they didn't have anything new to show because they basically showed everything they had in 2016 and maybe 2017. So it was very easy to see that Sony didn't have anything else in the works because a lot of the announcements they had were first-party, and it's a huge reason why the people bought the PS4 in the first place. And if we look at the numbers, that strategy helped them dominate this generation and has set them up for the next generation because people have a lot of confidence in Sony now. But talking about and revealing a lot of games way before they're ready to release will come back to bite you, and that's what's happening to Sony PlayStation right now. They can't announce any more games because they're years away, and the developers that they did announce games for are either working on games right now or are about to just release one. But Sony did say that they'll be at other events, which to me doesn't mean much, especially since they showcased a logo at a very recent event and treated that like it was this huge announcement when in reality it was a non-factor to everyone. Here's what the article has to say. In lieu of attending E3, Sony says it will be participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. This year, to promote PS4 and PS5 games, our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans, the company said. This to me is a little annoying, because if last year was an indication of what Sony is expected to do at events, then we have a lot of problems ahead of us. Because in 2019, Sony's PlayStation really didn't announce anything major, minus them buying Insomniac Games, which they posted on Twitter on a random Tuesday. And while that announcement was amazing, a lot of people did feel a little hollow knowing they weren't going to announce anything else. And that's what 2020 is starting to feel like. I honestly feel like Sony doesn't have anything to hype up the crowds, and they don't have games ready to launch with the PS5. Because even in this quote, they don't mention any games for the PlayStation 5. All they say is that they have games coming up for the PlayStation 4, which we already know two of the biggest games coming out for them this year. The Last of Us 2, which has been delayed and is one of the most anticipated games of the year. Then we have Ghost of Tsushima, which again is a game that was announced about 2 years ago and people have been expecting it. But after that, we don't know anything in regards to first-party development from PlayStation. To me, it's not a smart idea because we all want to know what the future holds with a new console. And for what seems like a very long time, people have said that Sony showing what they have in development is what helped them win the generation. Even if a game is over 2 years away, Sony would announce it, which would build up hype for not only the game, but for the brand of PlayStation. And while the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 will be launching this holiday 2020, we only know of one game that's going to be at launch title for the consoles, which is of course Halo Infinite, which Xbox has confirmed will take advantage of the new hardware and also launch with it. And as a gamer, I don't see any other game that can compete with Halo in scale and popularity. It's the biggest game of the year by far, and it's one of the best franchises around. But that doesn't mean I want Sony to just sit back and let Xbox have the limelight to themselves. No, I want Sony to come out and provide its competition when the consoles come out. Bring us a new IP or bring us a very popular franchise that will get us excited for the next PlayStation console. Don't just fold like a lawn chair and not show up to the biggest gaming event of the year, and please don't use the same excuse you did for missing the show last year. Here's what the article says about Sony and them missing last year. This marks the second year in a row that Sony has opted out of the annual gaming expo. Last year, Sony said it would not be attending E3 because it was looking for other inventive opportunities to connect with its own community. PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we decided not to participate in E3 in 2019, a PlayStation representative said at the time. You guys want to know a little secret? Sony didn't provide us hype or any new inventive ways where they showcase their fans, and they will take all the events seriously. In 2019, Sony literally didn't do anything at any event, and it basically was a slap in the face to their fans. They're making excuses for not having anything to show, and it's starting to show that announcing so many games so early was a huge mistake for them. Because for what will be 3 years, they won't have an event that will showcase their brand. Not to mention pay respects to their fans that have invested in the platform. And if you think revealing a logo is a way for them to show their fans that they care, then I don't know what to say to you, because I found that very weird and disrespectful. And maybe this is all because of the changes that are happening at PlayStation from the top down. So many high-level executives have left the company, and not just some random project manager. No, people like Sean Layden and other high-level members that helped build one of the most dominant console generations PlayStation has ever experienced have left. So don't expect the same type of energy or strategy from Sony anymore, because right now, to me, they feel like a company I can't trust. But enough about what I think of all this. Tell me what you think about all of this. Are you happy Sony is skipping E3 2020? Does PlayStation even have any games they can provide you for the PlayStation 5 console? Why is Sony skipping E3 for a second year in a row? Does Sony's lack of transparency with their fans bother you? What other event can Sony go to that's just as big as E3? Are you happy Xbox is respecting their fans and going to E3 2020 and also having another event in XO20? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. And also follow me on Mixer. I recently started streaming on Mixer because I find the community much more engaging and fun. So if you want to hang out and chat with me, I'm very active with my chat and always playing games. The links will be in the description. I hope to see you guys there. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.